Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Melanie and I am the owner of Lost and Found. I'm in my backyard today because there's not a quiet spot in my house to film this intro. The kids are home from school and they're running around and doing their thing. This is about as quiet of a place as I can find. So I'm out here today just chatting with you guys and wanting to share this video with you. Now it's gonna be a little bit different than some of the other videos I've done. And honestly, it's because we've just been so busy as a family these past few weeks. I have had these kind of like smatterings of things that I've filmed just as I've been going on with my business and what goes on with our family over the past few weeks. And I thought, you know, let's just pull it together and put it in a video. So I've been doing some work up at my antique booth and I've had several of you guys ask to want to see my antique booth a little bit closer. So I've gone up there, rearranged some things a couple times. I've worked on a few projects and then I actually had the amazing privilege of setting up for 2 days with my friends Kelsey and her mom. They are the owners of Brambles and Bailey in Gentry, Arkansas, and went to a super fun, just little kind of brief weekend outdoor show that they did. And I took some footage there. So I just kind of want to share all of that with you guys today, just take you along with me a little bit. At the end of the video, I do a little bit of redecorating in my own house. I decided to bring some stuff home from my booth and use it for my personal home. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Just gonna kind of walk along with me. If you've got questions, if you want to know more about anything that we're doing in the video, don't hesitate to ask in the comments. And of course, if you're not a Lost and Found subscriber, then I hope you hit that button and you join our community. So let's get going. So before I get to do the fun part of actually going and playing up at my booth, I always take time to record my inventory. And you guys have asked me about this before, so I thought I would just share a little bit of my process. It's really not fancy. I have these blank Excel sheets that I print out and I give each item a name and write down what I paid for it and then what I'm trying to sell it for. And then when it sells, I mark an X where it sells. And I also try to write down if it's sold in the booth or if it's sold online, just so I can kind of keep track of what revenue streams are really working for me. And my tags are not super fancy, y'all, either. I like using baker's twine. Now, some of your malls might let you put an item number on your tags. If they do, then I highly recommend it. That just makes it easier for you to kind of keep track of what you're selling and where to find it in your list of items. My mall right now, unfortunately, doesn't have us do that, but I have always done that before in the past. You guys know this is just kind of the not so glamorous part of getting ready to take the stuff up to the booth, but it's super important to keep track of your inventory. And my space is actually at the very back of the mall, and the first thing I always have to do is check the paint. The paint gets super messy while I'm gone, people looking at the colors and grabbing off the shelf, and I love it. That means people have been shopping, but I need to just kind of, you know, tidy up my shelves, and that's always the first thing that I do when I get to my space. This old blue table is a piece that I had in my shop that I kept, and I do use it just for display because underneath that blue table is the return air conditioning vent for the whole store, and I can't block that. So this table kind of fits perfectly over that vent and lets me display some things while also keeping that vent space open. Those white hobnail jar candles are a new addition to my booth. We have a vintage craft fair weekend coming up, and I'm expecting those to sell really well over the craft fair weekend. These shelves right here I try to mix up every couple weeks, just redo them, change the color scheme on them. A lot of times it's the same stuff, you guys, but I'm just kind of moving it around. And that helps your space look fresh, and that helps customers to think, oh, stuff is selling, stuff is moving out of here. So I spent some time mostly swapping out some of those middle shelves when I was up there this time. So while I was up at the antique mall, I decided to treat myself to something. I bought this absolutely gorgeous paint by number picture. It is a little bit lacking in, you know, sturdiness. It's like mounted on this foam board. I wish it had a pretty frame. I'm gonna have to hunt for a frame for it, but I'd actually had my eye on it for a while. And the lady, one of the big owners, she's not the owner, but she has like 5 big booths. She works there, and it was gone. It had moved, and I was like, oh no, did it sell? And she's like, no, I just moved it over here. And she said, have you been looking at it? And I was like, yes, I've been looking at it for a while. And she says, you know, I just want it gone. And so she gave me a great price on it. So I grabbed it, and is it not just absolutely gorgeous? I love paint by numbers, and I love the color in this one. And since winter is approaching, since we're getting these darker days, I am gonna just drop it over here on my desk so that I can sit here and look at it while I'm doing work. And that's what I'm gonna do with it for right now. I'll find a more permanent spot for it later, but that's where it's gonna go right now. I bought this desk for myself a while back at Ballard Designs, and I need to go and kind of finish it out. Buy some cute storage pieces for my cups and my pens, and I just quite haven't gotten around to it yet, but at least this print, looking at it while I'm working, just makes me happy. This is the second piece of the 3-piece set that I got. You may remember the dresser. It was in my video where I showed you guys how to stage furniture for photos. This is the chest of drawers, and I wanted to try a different color on it because I have all of these brand new paint colors from Fusion that I'm just excited to try. So first step, of course, is always taking out that hardware, and just a little tip, I always screw the screw right back into the hardware. Sometimes on these old pieces, the screws like to stay with the individual piece of hardware. So that's how I keep track of them. And then first step is always just to clean the piece. I use the Fusion TSP alternative for everything that I clean. So the color that I'm trying on this is Willowbank. It is not as dark as Midnight Blue, but still a really pretty navy. And you guys will see the finished product here at the end of the video if you keep watching. But that brush that I'm using is absolutely my favorite brush if you're really looking to treat yourself with a great brush. It is the Ultimate One large round brush, and I'll share a link to it in the video description, but it's my go-to brush, you guys. I keep it really washed out well, in good shape, and it just provides the most amazing smooth finish when you're painting. Okay, transitioning to our next project here, I am going to make a barn quilt. So first stop is always to head to Lowe's and grab some of the wood that I like to use. I'll tell you guys about it a little bit more later, but I love that they just have all these pre-cut pieces ready for me. So I really love making these painted barn quilts. I use these pattern books that my friend Carrie Baker put together from Baker's Nest, and we actually sell these in our online shop. They make it super, super easy. Like, you just follow the instructions that are in the book. They walk you through how to draw out the grid, even the suggested colors to use. And I think why I enjoy doing them is because they're so orderly. I like orderly crafts. I struggle with just creating things out of the blue. And so if you have sometimes watched you know, people's YouTube DIY videos and thought, how did they come up with the idea to do that? I could never create something like that. Then maybe you need to try a barn quilt, because that's what I think. I struggle with kind of creativity, and having these patterns to follow, it makes it so easy. And then if I want to be creative and change up the colors some, I can do that, working already kind of within the framework of what's in the book. Now, because these books are copyrighted, I'm not allowed to film the pages of the book or film the exact complete like tutorial process for you guys. That would be violating the copyright on the books. So like I said, you can find them in our online shop, but I will share with you just some general tips kind of as I go along. And like we showed, these are the boards that I use. I got this at Lowe's. It is almost a 24-inch by 24-inch just piece of plywood. It's a tiny little bit short on the measurements. So I do have to adjust the measurements some, but the first step is always just to paint a base coat, and I'm gonna paint white, so we're gonna get going with that. I misspoke just a little bit. Actually, before I paint the background, I do like to sand these boards smooth. That grain can be kind of rough, and with rough grain, it's hard to get really kind of smooth taped lines. So I do sand it smooth first. And then this is Fusion Mineral Paint Raw Silk. It's just a pretty kind of creamy off-white. It's probably our top selling off-white. Doesn't have a lot of yellow in it. And I think it took me maybe 2 coats, a third in some spots, to kind of just get all of this plywood covered and get rid of that orangey wood color. And then after that, I was ready to start taping and drawing out my pattern. So the first step really is drawing a grid on the board, and again, these books walk you exactly through what you need to do. If your board is not, like I said, these are not exactly 24 inches, so you do kind of have to adjust for that just a little bit. But need a handy yardstick. If you don't have one, grab one of those while you're at Lowe's too. And then you just draw the grid out kind of as the book instructs you. Each pattern, the grid is slightly different. It'll look something like this. And then the book will tell you other lines to add into your grid. And then it's just a process of taping those parts off and adding in your paint color. You guys, it really is easy, so easy to follow, and I just have so much fun making them. I enjoy it so much. Don't use a lot of paint on your brush. The more paint you have on your brush, the more likely it's going to seep under that tape. This is Fusion Mineral Paint Eucalyptus, if you're wondering the color, just a pretty light sagey green. I like typically to use a product called frog tape. This is just regular Scotch painter's tape. I was out of frog tape. I think it works a little bit better. You really have to press it down hard, and then you can even take a slightly damp paper towel and run it along the edge of the tape to kind of help seal the surface too while you're painting. And once you finish just taping and painting and filling in the areas that the book tells you to do, then voila, here you go. How fun is that? So I didn't get this all the way finished for you guys. I'm gonna work on finishing it and showing it to you in a future video. So you may remember this cute little shop, Brambles and Bailey. I did a tour of that back in the spring. And Kelsey and her mom, Jane, are just really some lovely people. Their whole family, in fact, is just amazing. And there was an event called Pick and Time on Highway 59, and they said, hey, you want to come out and just set up in front of the shop? There's going to be some other people selling some vintage. And I said, sure, why not? It sounds like a great way to spend a Friday and a Saturday. So that's what I did, and the weather was gorgeous. We just had a really, really great time. I love the junk and picking community. They're just a great people. This little bench I had my eye on. That original green paint, that would be so cute out in my garden or even inside, tucked up by my fireplace, staged for Christmas. Oh, it was super, super cute. So here's my space. I just brought a selection of paint and a few transfers. There's that dresser that I was telling you about. Again, this is just an opportunity for me to connect with some local customers and to meet some folks who maybe shop with me at the booth that I don't get to see. And here is that chest of drawers that I was painting. Isn't that a gorgeous color? Changed out the knobs for white knobs, and it just has this really fun blue and white feel now. This was another local artist that was there, TRAM COLWIN Studio. She does beautiful watercolors, and you guys, she painted all of these different butterflies, and she has these watercolor kits that you can do. I was really tempted to buy one. In fact, I may try and contact her and go back and get one because they just looked so fun, but I really enjoyed getting to know her while we were at this event also. And I'm really excited to introduce you to these folks. This is OSAGE CLAYWORKS, and they are a family-owned handmade pottery studio that's located in OSAGE, Arkansas, which is about 2 hours east of where I am, kind of in the middle north part of the state. And I really enjoyed just getting to know them. They have been in business for over 40 years. Look at this cute little egg separator that they had. But their store, they were telling me, is located in a really neat historic building. They have multiple generations of customers now that they've been in business for so long, and their work is just absolutely beautiful. I have not been out to OSAGE to see their place, but it's definitely on my list of things to do now, and if you're looking for a great day trip, then you should for sure go see them as well. So much going on at this little junk market. I'm telling you, I was not bored one single bit. This is Luke, and he is hand forging tools and various things. Super talented, and I just loved watching him, and every little boy that came by sat there and wanted to watch him too. Here's a couple things that he has made. These hand-hammered copper ladles with these turned handles that he's forged out of steel. Just gorgeous, and I've never seen anybody do that up close like that, so it just was really fun to watch. And the family that owns the store also had an old cider press, and they were hand making apple cider while we were there and sharing it to anybody that wanted any, and it just was mesmerizing to watch. I'm just going to let you guys kind of watch this process here. We grind up the apples, and then the pulp would fall down into this one bin. And then the bin would be scooted down, and a heavy wood block was put in and just mashed down with that lever. And out came the most delicious apple cider that we all got to enjoy. It just was... the whole thing was just really a treat. So another thing that I decided to do while I was up at my booth today is to bring home these two prints. So I'll show you the other one. They are just these botanical prints. They're really big, they're nice size. This one, the frame is not in awesome shape. The other one, the framing is in almost just like it was brand new. But you guys, I found these at a local thrift store for $5 each. And I put on them $39 at my booth, which I thought was an incredibly fair price. And I expected them to go like that. But it's been a couple weeks and nobody's bought them. And I decided that I just loved them too much myself. So I brought them home, and I think I'm gonna put them here in this space. This room has such tall walls that it's just been kind of a little awkward to decorate. And I wanted to start a travel plate collection. These are the few that I have here. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and then we lived in Texas for a long time. But really I need more to kind of make it a compelling display. And then this is actually something that I purchased from Kelsey and Jane, and I love it so much. Now the little birds are falling off. I need to glue them back on. That tray was actually my grandmother's. So these are things that I love, and that's why I hung them up here originally, but I don't know, they're just not quite working in this space. So we're gonna try these pictures instead. So I think they fit the room a lot better than what I had. They really pick up the colors in the rugs. I'm super, super happy with them. And I can't believe that I found them for $5 each. Cute are these little guys. These are my boys when they were little. Some of my favorite pictures of them that I keep over here on the piano. So there you have it. There's a little snippet of what it's like here at the Alexander household, what it's like running Lost and Found. Like I said, back and forth up to my booth. I do try to go at least once a week and shuffle some things around. You know, it's been a little bit of a challenge because the space is kind of a strange layout. So I don't have space for a lot of furniture. My paint takes up the majority of our area, but you know, I'm doing my best with it. I'm doing what I can. Didn't finish the barn quilts either. You'll have to check back. Hopefully maybe the next video, those will be done and I'll show those to you guys. Y'all, I'm just slow. It takes me a while to get through stuff here because I'm packing orders and like I said, we've just got family things. 2 of my kids have birthdays this week, so I don't know. Shout out to all of you guys that can pull off a craft project and get something done in like 2 or 3 days. I'm like a 2 or 3 week kind of gal. It just takes me a while, y'all, to get through stuff sometimes. So I don't know, maybe that's an encouragement to somebody out there today. If you think that, you know, if we're on YouTube or if we're running a business, we're just constantly churning out this new stuff. That's not my story. It takes me a while. So if you've been stuck on a project for a while and it's taking you a little bit of time, don't be discouraged. Just, that's okay. Just stick with it. Keep at it. So that's it. That's what I've got for today. Y'all are amazing. Thank you for joining me. I hope to be back soon. See you guys in about a week.